Hello, listeners, and welcome to another fine episode of Someone's Microphone Farts at Us, better known as the JoyPad podcast. My name is Tom, and I will be your host of honor this evening, as the topic will be mine. But joined with me tonight are Michael Fleming, Michael Pinto, and Megan, and we will get the ball rolling on this fine December evening. Mr. Michael Pinto, what tonight are you enjoying as a beverage? What video games have you been playing? And how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I am drinking a Golden Road Brewing Melon Cart, which is a watermelon wheat ale with the notes of honeydew and cantaloupe. I know that's not how you pronounce that melon, but that's how it's spelled. So, I bought these back in like July. I'm finally finishing them. I don't drink a lot. Fine. What have I been playing? I played some Final Fantasy 15, getting back into that because I got a nice shiny new television, for which I am preparing to move into the next generation of gaming eventually, you know, like halfway through 2021 or so. I haven't been playing much beyond that. We haven't even played War Selection this week. It's a bummer.
What? No.
I know.
No. It's been a wild week.
I think we've all just been busy, and I feel like towards the end of the year, like, even if everyone's not busy, everyone just kind of feels, like, overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And given how this year has been, you know, I'm not holding it against anyone. It's just everyone can do their own thing. Oh, also, pandemic response, restaurants are going back to takeout only, and lots of things are shutting down, but I work in a restaurant, and I bet we'll be busier. So, we'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I guarantee it'll be more DoorDash than anything, because everyone's going to be like, I'll make other people get my food for me so they can be exposed to COVID. So, you know, good times.
I'm totally not that person.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm going to pass it off to Megan because I know what she played a little bit of, and I wish I could hear more about it.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, I picked up Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
Honestly, I've really only played about an hour and a half of it, most of which I spent creating my character because, you know, so many choices.
And they're junk. Sorry.
Yeah, I passed on that option. You can actually choose whether or not that's something that you want to do. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need that.
It's
Would you
nice
like
that
to
they make that a
modify the junk?
skippable choice.
Listen, the options, I don't think I can discuss the options that you can use in that area with our podcast because we're trying to be family friendly. But I'll talk to you guys about it later because it's just all unnecessary, all of it. But
I believe that.
I personally feel a little bit overwhelmed by Cyberpunk and the amount of information that is thrown at you up front. Like, it is really an RPG to its core. Like, it really reminds me a lot of tabletop RPGs with stats and buffs and everything with your clothing, which is also your armor. And there are a lot of options as far as progressing your character skill-wise. So it's been kind of a rough week, so I didn't want to put a ton of time into it. But yeah, I've been playing Cyberpunk, and I've still been working through Persona 5. I actually ended up in the place where I left off last time I played it, so we all know where this is going. If I get sucked into Cyberpunk, I'll have to replay Persona again from the beginning a year from now.
It'll happen.
Yeah. But that's really it for gaming Among Us, usually on the weekends. And as a beverage of choice, as always, I have an unsweetened tea, but from Dunkin' this time. Yeah.
Are you sure it's unsweetened if it's from Dunkin'? I feel like they probably snuck in at least 3 sugar packets.
No, honestly, there's nothing in it. Sometimes I do ask for it unsweetened, and I'm like, this totally has sugar in it. But no, it's legit. So yeah, that's enough from me. I'm going to pass it to one Michael Fleming. How are you doing? What are you drinking? What are you playing?
I'm doing okay. Doing well, even, I would say.
Wow.
I am drinking my final bottle of Sam Adams Winter Lager. Not sponsored, but it's tasty nonetheless. I have been playing Among Us. I actually have not touched War Selection at all, but that's Tom Get Ready because I bought Madden 21 for PC.
Oh, yeah. There
I
it
have
is.
some complaints
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
because this
We all
game is not that good. They have a lot of very buggy things that are still occurring. So to recap,
Welcome to every Madden.
I know,
every
welcome to
year.
every Madden, but it's gotten worse. So I've played, for the viewers and for you guys, because I don't think I've ever really told you this. I used to play tons of Madden as a kid, like 2005, 2006. So I know in one of our previous episodes, I mentioned like Superstar mode. That was back in like '06 or so, where you would actually get to choose your position. You would go into the draft. They would do the whole draft, and you would be able to play as only that position, which was really cool. It was super unique. Like I said, about 2006 was the first time that I remember it came out. Like I played another Madden 2017. I think that was the last one for PS3 that was available. So I got that because I just wanted to play more Madden and I hadn't played in 10 years. And then it's always right around December where I'm like, I really want to play Madden because I'm watching football and like it just always happens to me in December. So I start looking and I'm like, I'm gonna get the latest one on PC. I'll play it there, and there's a lot of bugs in that game still. So like the game, I'm playing Face of the Franchise because that's the most superstar mode first because you can play franchise anytime you want as long as you want. And they say that I'm on the Falcons, which I'm not on the Falcons. I am on the Texans. You don't ever play a full season. You just play a couple games, which is really weird to me too. You don't play from, I'm playing as a quarterback, but you don't play as quarterback vision like mode where you're playing as that player. You can control other ones, which let me tell you, if you don't have a controller is very, very difficult to make sure you don't accidentally, take over that player or mess up that player's, receiver's, trajectory, for example. So it's been very frustrating. And that's not even to go into the fact that the game has like balls bouncing off of people and getting picked off, like ultra fast reactions. And like, I'm not even on all Madden. I'm on all pro, which is what I've played, all the time. And it shouldn't be that difficult. To summarize, I'm just like, I like the game because it's still Madden. It's still NFL and football, but they just, I think, are going in the wrong direction with some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah, the bugs in Face of the Franchise are definitely the worst in the entirety of the game. I think there were a couple times where it was telling me that like I was going up against some player and he was like on my team or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
well,
dumb
I've also
things
heard
like
the commentators say things that like don't make any sense. Like, he's struggling. I've been sacked once and I've thrown 6 touchdowns. I'm probably fine. And also in Face of the Franchise, like my first season, even though I won the games that I got to play when the starter got injured, they still put me as a backup again, which I was like, okay, skip that the rest of the season basically. And then after that, in the next season, I'm like a 98, like top 2 quarterback. And then I get injured and I'm back down to like a 70 something overall. And I'm not playing well in the next season. So I missed the whole next season basically because of that. And it wasn't like an injury like me playing and I was like always scrambling and got hit. It's just the fact that that's how they decided to make the story go. And I didn't even get to see it happen or anything. So like, I don't know. And it's just...
That's really interesting because it's very different from how like my character's Face of the Franchise is.
Oh, really?
Where I've like won the Super Bowl like twice.
Oh no, I've won the
No, actually, I don't know
Super
if
Bowl twice. I did win the Super Bowl twice. I actually just won the Super Bowl earlier today. So congrats to me.
Great job.
Thank you. But I don't want this to be like Slam Fest podcast or anything. I'm just
they're bad. We all know it.
I'm disappointed in the fact that if someone's like trying to that game out as like a trial, which I almost did because I know there's a free trial, and you play Face of the Franchise and you get through like the high school period, early college or so. I don't know exactly where that cuts off. all that was great. There was an actual storyline, there was actual voice dialogue, and then it's like, okay, go to the NFL. I'm like, yeah, I want to go to the NFL, thinking I'd see Tommy Matthews again, your rival.
Yeah, that was weird.
He's gone.
He doesn't
He's
show
just
up.
gone.
Yeah.
And like,
And I hated that guy too.
I hated him as well, but yeah. So I know I'm getting into
But I
this
wanted
way
to see
late.
more
I know
about
that
it. No.
I'm just piling on because I've read plenty of Reddit threads about people that were super disappointed. The game is rated really poorly, actually, on most things. Steam has it as mixed, but I knew, Tom, you would appreciate these complaints. We can talk more.
Oh yeah.
Everyone that has played EA games knows the way EA and specifically the Madden franchise has gone. I'm still happy because I got to play some football, which is always fun without getting hit, which is also fun too. So it's been enjoyable, but at the same time, it's just like, ugh, come on, someone else needs to buy the rights and start making their own Madden games that are better, please. Anyway, Tom, what's our true topic, or do you have any thoughts on this EA complaint fest that I had to go on?
Well, first of all, tonight I'm drinking out of a fine ale horn that I was given by my mother-in-law as a Christmas gift that arrived a little bit early, but I'm drinking let me hold up the can because it's very interesting to me, Black Matter Coffee Stout, which I think is pretty cool.
That is like a nice design.
Isn't it? You can't even see there's like a very geometric kind of like pattern in the middle. It's
Nice.
kind of hard to see against the... Yeah, it's delicious. I've basically been playing Among Us and more of Pokemon with my wife in the living room, which has been really cool on the double Switch setup. We've caught all kinds of legendary Pokemon. And that's actually what kind of got me thinking about tonight's topic, which I would like to discuss, being the gift of game, whether in-game or outside of game. So different gifts that you give or receive in a game, or gifts that you've given someone to enable their gaming, whether it's a game or a peripheral or something like that, or something you've received in real life that's really been a great kind of gaming gift. And actually, Fleming, you kind of played into one thing I have thought about, which I'll start with the negative side, and then I'll go to the positive side of some different things. But the negative, Madden actually always focuses on one area because it's their cash cow, and that is Madden Ultimate Teams. Madden Ultimate Teams always gives gifts just about every week or every couple of weeks, and especially around the holidays, of these little tiny kind of drip feed cards that you need to activate other cards and play through to get other things. Or you can just buy packs to get better things to, complete sets and get these really good players that you can use in your head-to-head Madden Ultimate Teams challenges and matchups online. It's awful. It's really just the worst thing. It's very EA, though. EA's really bought into the whole microtransaction thing. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the idea of a gacha game. I forget how it's pronounced.
No.
But the idea basically is that you have like an in-game currency. You spend it to summon X number of units or tokens or something. And in a lot of these games, you have to combine them to make the super ultra hyper rare thing that's normally at like a 1% drop rate or something like that.
Oh, so you're talking about every mobile game ever.
I sure am. But Madden Ultimate Teams also does this. It's basically the exact same thing. Now, if you're patient, they always will give you enough things over time to basically build like a 95 overall team by the time the game's done and they're going to put out another game. But who's patient like that if you're into the competitive aspect of that game? It gets really hard. So I think that's a point of frustration with that. I think that's a case where I'm giving you a gift, but it's really to try and get you hooked on this crack cocaine. Meanwhile, in more pleasant gifts that I've received, which is actually what got me thinking about this, my wife and I have been playing Pokemon, and there is a delightful feature. I don't know what generation they introduced it, but it's called Surprise Trade. You send out literally anything at all. It could be a Magikarp that you caught in a pond, and it frequently is, and someone else will send something else back into the world, and you'll get that. There are a lot of people that do the Magikarp thing. There are a lot of people that'll do EVs, or, they'll breed their starter Pokemon so you can end up with all three starters, which is fantastic since that used to be a really difficult thing to do. Or you can find the absolute shining diamond out there of weird people that run websites which are trying to make money off of people to inject Pokemon or something. But the fun thing that they do is they will send out legendary Pokemon at level 100 that are holding Master Balls. And I feel no ethical obligation to refuse such a gift. So as soon as they show up, even though they have terrible names, hey, +1 Master Ball for me, +1 fun little shiny Thunderous or weird Pokemon that I'm never ever going to use in my entire life that I just think is kind of neat. We almost make a game of it. It's like, hey, did you get that guy again? Yep, here he comes. This is so. I don't know if we've been tremendously lucky with that. I'm sure it's some marketing strategy by them because the Pokemon are all named after whatever website they're running. But it's still enjoyable. It's still like a fun thing to just put out whatever and get something nice in return, something great even when it's a legendary Pokemon holding.
But that's not
Ball.
even like, I mean, it's a gift, but it's not in the sense that I think of gifts, because my wife and I played Pokemon too, and she played Shield and I played Sword. So I think the Pokemon that you find are a little bit different. So I know at one point I found, I think Eevee. I don't remember if it was Eevee or something else, but I think I found an Eevee, maybe a Pikachu. And she hadn't found one yet when she was playing, and she was like, "Oh my god!" So I was like, "Well, I'll send it to you. Like, we'll figure this out and get you that Pokemon." And like, I didn't expect anything of it. Now, granted, she's my wife, but like, I've done this, similar things, with you guys in Stardew Valley or in DayZ even. Like, it's like, oh hey, I was playing earlier before you got on, and I killed a guy that had a PKP. Pinto, I know you love PKPs. Do you want to have the PKP instead of me selling it? So like even those things, like those just basic interactions where it's just like, here you go, kind of keeps, the generosity flowing, especially at this time of year.
I think we could also throw back in a similar manner, Fleming, to a game that we've played and posted on our YouTube channel, Diablo 3, where we're constantly finding items for one another and giving the gift of Jonathan's handsome pants.
Yeah, it's a great example. I think anything where you're getting randomized items or weapons or whatever, and you're playing with friends is a perfect example of just like, oh no, go ahead and take it. I know you need it to complete X or, do Y, or even you just think it's really cool. So like, if you find 2 SUVs, but you want the red one, that's fine, man. You can take the red one. I'll take the black one.
It accents my hair.
I'm still stuck on Tom's talking about the Pokemon having really weird names, and I'm imagining like a Ho-Oh, but it's named like Flex Tape. And it's like, you got Flex Tape! It's holding a Master Ball.
It's more like Jimmy John's Emporium of Pokemon.com is like the name of the guy that you'll get. I don't want to put the actual...
Why are they advertising?
Because then they're advertising sandwiches and not their website.
Great gonzo marketing opportunity, JimmyJohns.com. Just saying.
It's going to happen. We brought it up on the podcast. Though actually,
Jimmy John's goes strong into Pokemon advertising.
I've never had Jimmy John's. It's not around here, so.
It's pretty good. It's a sandwich.
Though,
the end.
Actually, to that point, sorry, Tom, I'm jumping back to EA really quickly. Have you like noticed in a lot of like the highlight scenes, like they're holding up the Microsoft Surface and stuff like that in some of the cutscenes? Have you noticed them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that Microsoft actually paid the NFL to use the Surface, and I remember hearing about it because Bill Belichick like threw one or something, and Microsoft was upset with him. But I wonder like that kind of advertising. I wonder if they actually have to pay for to put those things in there still. Because like if I was EA, I'd be like, hey, you want to have your Surface? I don't know.
Yeah. I think they get money for some of that. I think EA does get money. Like, because Snickers, I think, has some sort of thing in there because they'll have random Snickers commercials.
You would have
which,
to.
hey, how much do you love a game that you pay like $60 for that also includes commercials for Snickers as a part of the game?
I don't
Listen,
get it, man.
Death Stranding, how much do you love Norman Reedus that you advertise Ride on the glass
And
in front
Monster
of the toilet?
Energy
Yeah.
drink.
Yep. Final Fantasy 15.
Ramen or cup
God,
noodle.
I love cup noodles so
Cup
much.
noodles.
It's the best meal ever.
Coleman camping gear.
Yep.
We could do an entire episode just about like the way advertising has infiltrated.
Yeah, let's save that. Let's jump back to gifts.
I just want to mention, like, I'm sorry, is your target audience as a camping gear supplier gamers? Like, that seems a little, you know, I don't know.
Wrong market research.
I haven't gone camping in like over a decade, so
listen,
I'll
you
take
don't
you
get this
camping.
pasty white
Camping?
flesh going outdoors.
Oh, that's funny.
I've also seen you looking like a lobster, Megan, from being in the sun too much.
That's also why I
so.
don't go outside.
Sweet, sweet roofs.
But I think the idea of gift giving, like that, I guess you could, I don't know if you would call it gift giving, but that was like the basis of all like old school RPGs. Because that was your quest. It was like, oh, well, you need to give the farmer a shovel so he can give you a cabbage so you can feed the cabbage to a donkey so the donkey will move so you can go rescue the princess.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't
I think, I don't know, like, I like it more like, you know, we've all played Stardew Valley, where you give gifts to make people love you, and that's also, like, how Harvest Moon was. That's part of why I like those games so much, is because I want people to like me, and if I just walked up to, like, someone in a new town, and I was like, yo, I grew this tomato, I want you to have it, they'd be like, cool, never speak to me again. But in Stardew Valley, they're like, oh, I love tomatoes. Thank you.
I got you this rock.
I feel closer to you as a person now.
But if you're in a bar, though, Pinto, and you buy a beer and you give it to a random person when you know that they're an alcoholic and they love you for it, anyone that's played Stardew Valley that's watching is...
When you're in town and it's a young child's birthday and you hand him a beer...
I didn't know it was his birthday.
This is the greatest thing we've done in Stardew Valley, by the way.
That may be in the top 1 or 2. Yeah, definitely.
It gives me a validation that I don't get in real life, I guess, basically. Like, I love giving gifts to people in real life. Like, around Christmas time, I like giving gifts more than I like receiving gifts. But I also don't know what to buy people a lot of the time, and it feels highly impersonal to just be like, here's an Amazon gift card, go nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, I that's my struggle with gift giving outside of games. It's like, I don't know what to get you. Or I think the other challenge too, and this is probably just all gamers in general, you know, most games are like $60, and then if you go even higher, we talked about this 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago in the deals podcast, where it's like, you know, I can't go and buy Pinto a PS5 no matter how much he'd love it. You know, us three together can't get him a Switch and, like, you know, make his
Can't
day
or
kind
won't?
of thing. Well,
I know the answer to that question.
Reasonably.
Reasonably, but also I think that would, at least for me, if you guys all were like, here's a Switch, Mike, because you know how bad you want it, I'd feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic expectations, and then when they're met, you feel like a jerk.
Right.
You're like, I didn't want you to spend that much on me. I mean, I love it, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Gifts need to be able to be reciprocated.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
want to get someone something and then feel empty-handed at the gesture.
Which is why, if I go back to something like DayZ, like, if I was like, hey, you know, I saved up and was able to buy... You know, in the game, just by playing the game, you can collect certain things for your, you know, party. I could be like, hey, Pinto, you can only buy the PKP at the store in this server, but I played an extra hour and I got one, so I wanted to give it to you because I know you like it. Like, that almost means as much as, you know, maybe not as much, but you know what I mean. It almost feels like buying an actual physical product.
It doesn't mean as much as a PS5.
Shut up, Tom.
It doesn't.
It doesn't mean as much as a Switch, no, but, like, you put in the time, and that's
I put in the
important
time
thing.
thinking about you specifically to give you that item. Like, that means something. Now, if you go and die right away, I might be a little pissed off, but you know what I mean, though.
Hey,
like,
man, I was pretty good at that game.
You were very good, especially at the PKP. You were very, very good. But yeah, it's one of those kind of things. Like, I don't know. I like giving gifts, and I especially like giving gifts in games like that to, like, get people started too. So I know that in a lot of games, like, you know, it's like, I don't know if I want to play. You're so much further ahead than me, or whatever. Even just the gift of your time explaining the game and teaching someone, like, okay, so this is how you build out your skill tree in something like Diablo. I don't know. And here's, a starting staff that I saved, like hoping you'd play with me. And here's, the one that I have for you when you're level 40. So you have to put in a few hours to get there.
That's how a lot of like MMOs worked for me.
Yep.
Like that's how I
Exactly.
actually really got into it. Was Star Wars Galaxies was my first one, and it was really hard to get into that game. It's super hard, but there were people at like the starport that were just like, "Hey, join our group. We'll give you 50,000 credits, and we'll give you armor, and we'll get you set up." And I did it, and they gave me the stuff, and they got me set up. And eventually I was like a council member in that guild for like a little bit, But it was like just a selfless gift, obviously with the intent of recruiting people to their group. But they were able to do that and make my experience in that game fun, where it wouldn't have been otherwise. I would have been lost.
Yeah, it's like back to DayZ. It's like anyone that's played DayZ knows how much running and just moving like from one side of the map to the other and just how long that takes. And if you're a brand new player, all you want to do is go to the Northwest Airfield, which is going to take you half an hour to run. And your first time you have no idea what you're doing. So like,
and you're also just going to die right when you get there.
Yeah, or you're going to die right when you get there. So like, one thing that I did a lot was, especially like when I got kind of, I don't want to say bored of the game, but essentially bored, I was really good at flying planes. So I'd be like, hey guys, I found, a biplane. I'm picking people up at the, Bellata Airfield, and I'll fly you up to the Northwest Airfield. Just parachute when we get there. So like, as we go, like I would talk to them and be like, thank you for taking whatever my name was in the game. I switch my names so often. Airlines, please prepare to disembark. And like everybody in there's like, okay, we're ready. And then just like people start parachuting out of the plane as I flew past. So like I would drop 10 people or whatever at the Northwest Airfield.
And then they're all dead.
And then you just see killed. Yeah, you just see killed. And you're just like, okay, I'll pick you all up again. That's fine. I had fun.
I was thinking of your current name in War Selection
Yes.
as you were saying your airline name, and it gave me a giggle.
This is Remember Mitt Romney. Yes.
I was thinking of the
I
other
know you
part.
were. But yeah, I mean, I think the overall theme of this though is that it's a good way to get some human interaction with strangers, which I know personally for me, Penta, you're probably nodding your head at this, is one of the hardest things for me to do, to talk to a stranger. So the idea of just being able to be like, hey, random dude, you just starting out? Oh, here you go. Here's some stuff. And, the guy's like, oh, thanks. So, I appreciate it. Like, it's a great way to break the ice and, like, feels less imposing as even buying a beer for someone in a bar that you're probably never going to see again. I find it easier to, talk to people online in that regard.
Yeah.
Don't buy beer for other people. Drink it yourself.
No, I was
Don't
just going
buy
to say
beer for people. Is that what you said?
Yes, I did.
only buy beer for yourself. Yes,
Or your friends.
I'd really almost like to see more of the relationship mechanic that's kind of built into Stardew Valley into other sorts of RPG games. It would be kind of nice to see more of like a friendship management, if not relationship management aspect of some games. There's a little bit of that in like Fire Emblem games where you choose to talk to different companions. I don't know if the gift giving is as much a big part of it.
Persona uses it as far as like you gain confidence and to increase your rank or relationship with them, or if you want to pursue them romantically, because you can do that, you can buy gifts for certain characters to increase your bond, and by unlocking levels with your confidant, that also opens up different skills for you and abilities depending on like what you're using to fight with, which is really cool.
Isn't that fun? Like,
Yeah.
there's something nice about artificially creating bonds with characters that don't really exist in games. I intentionally said it that way, but it really does. I'm not being facetious.
No.
It really does feel nice.
But there are certain characters that you might like more than others because of like whatever they're putting out in the game. It's funny. Like, I'm interacting with NPCs like I would with people in the real world sometimes. Like, I don't really care for you. I'm only talking to you because I have to. And others, it's like, you're really cool and I appreciate what you're saying and what you're doing.
I look forward to doing that in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I wanna
Because
get
you
some.
know there's going to be a lot of that in that
Yeah.
game too. We already bought it and
Nice.
haven't played it yet. But yeah, I mean, I guess the only kind of thread we haven't tugged at too much is the whole kind of fetch quest thread, which Pinto talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely an RPG staple. I think of it almost like that like red paperclip idea where
Oh,
like
yeah.
somebody just trades red paperclip and gets some sort of like expensive thing at the end. The idea is they have to trade it like 20,000 times. There's some internet website dedicated to
Oh
this
yeah,
where
I know,
somebody
I know
actually
what you're
did
talking
this.
about. Right.
Just
Yeah.
there was an episode of The Office about it. Just go watch that.
You have until December 31st on Netflix.
Well, I guess it'll probably go to Peacock. And anyway, I think even like the Golden Chocobo, like Knights of the Round quest and like Final Fantasy VII really revolved around that same kind of concept. Particularly, you know, you needed to breed one type of Chocobo, then breed another type of Chocobo, then kind of keep going and going and going. And you needed specific greens for certain stuff, if I remember right.
It was
sounds right,
it was
yeah.
nuts, specific nuts.
Nuts.
I was gonna make
Nuts.
a rude joke, but we're family friendly.
I laugh childishly at nuts, so it's fine.
Listen, my greatest fetch quest achievement lately has been in Death Stranding when I finally met Conan O'Brien and he gave me an otter helmet.
Did you pee outside his house though?
Yeah.
Nice.
Why wouldn't I? In
Having
the
never
snow
played this
outside his
game,
house.
I'm very confused. But I hope for all Death Stranding, listeners, they're probably like, ah.
It's one giant fetch quest.
Conan O'Brien's actually in the
He
game,
is,
right?
yeah.
Like that's the thing.
He's
yeah.
not Conan
So,
O'Brien, but like, yeah, he is in the game as a character.
He's Bonin O'Crian.
Yeah, exactly. He lives with a cosplayer.
Nice.
That's pretty great,
Yeah.
actually. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll think a little bit more about other kind of fetch quest threads that we've run through over time. I don't really have any others that are coming specifically to mind. I know, Zelda kind of does a lot of that with
Yeah,
like the
that's
Master Sword. And that
Bigger
kind of
on
stuff.
sword.
Yeah.
I always remember it blowing my mind when I could take the Master Sword and get it turned into the Tempered Sword
Oh yeah.
in the Forge in A Link to the Past. If I remember that right?
Yep. And then you could buy the big bomb and meet the fat fairy, and she would give you the golden sword. I'm not
Throw it
being
in the
rude.
fairy
They
well.
actually called her the fat fairy. She was transformed to be fat though.
Ah.
English is the strong suit of many Japanese game developers.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
This guy are sick.
Somebody set up us the bomb.
All your base art belong to us.
I don't need to belabor the point. Are there any others that you guys wanted to discuss on this particular podcast? Maybe sometime in the near future we can get more into the external side of giving in games.
Well,
We're actually
that's,
giving.
That's actually what I was about to bring up, because just last night, I got a message from one of my sisters saying, would you want to play a game with me and your other sister sometime? And I was like, yeah, like, I don't know, what are you playing? She's like, oh, we've been playing Overcooked 2. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
nice.
like, I played Overcooked 1. I don't have it, though. Like, and she's like, I will buy it for you if you will play it with us. I was like, okay, Christmas present, And I just like the idea of, like, it, we touched on it earlier that games are expensive, so it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to, like, buy someone a game. But it's a really sweet gesture to just be like, I want to play this game with you, so I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Like in the case of Overcooked, it was like $12. So I'm not. If it was $60, I would have been like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Right.
But like $12, I'm like, yeah, of course. And we played it last night, and it was fun.
I mean, the way you look at it is like they could take you out to Chipotle or to other major food places that could sponsor us, and
Nice.
We're open.
you're welcome.
Your restaurant name here.
Very subtle.
Yes, but that's a fast casual place is going to be about $12. That's what I was basically getting at.
Well, yeah, if you get guacamole.
If you get guacamole, and I always do. But like that, you could have done that, or you could spend the night playing games together, and also then potentially later on too. So
Yeah,
like,
in future, I'm not going to be able to eat that burrito again. You
Yeah.
know.
but you can certainly play Overcooked more than once. So it's the same. I mean, you didn't buy it for me, but you told me multiple times to get Stardew Valley, which I probably would never have bought myself. But you're like, hey, you should get it because you can play with me and Tom at the time. And I was like, okay, it's relatively cheap. I'll get it, and we'll
And then
play.
it was the only game I could play in California.
And that
So
was also true. So it was perfect.
Well, and I think like it was your birthday or something, Pinto, and we realized that there was a survival mode in War Selection. We all wanted to try it out, and I think I got you that as a gift.
It was like
And-
$8.
Yeah.
It was like $8.
It was
yeah,
kind
and
of
it was
a buzz.
like, oh,
Survival mode's not that great, but it was fun to try out. Yeah.
yeah, we had fun with it. I mean, it's hey, for $8, I'm happy to like do something like that, and it's kind of like a nice little like, I don't want to say like lighten your life, but like just a little kind of like moment of joy that you get from being able to share an experience
Yeah,
like that.
it's
Getting
like
a
how
game
I'm gonna
gift.
buy Doki Doki Literature Club for Fleming so we can play it for the YouTube channel.
Boy.
That'll be a moment of joy in my life.
I know.
Of course.
Stay tuned for that, everyone. I'll buy it for you. I finally watched the Game Grumps play it. That was a light in my life. Oh man,
great.
I was losing my mind. It was so good.
It's really good. That's one of my favorite series that they've done. Honestly, I kind of brought it up earlier, and we kind of went like on the ham end of the spectrum, but we bought another Switch and another copy of Pokemon so that my wife and I could play Pokemon together.
Yeah.
So,
I remember
it's a
going
little
out
different,
and
but-
buying like a second, because with Nintendo, now you have to buy another console. But back in the day, you could just buy another controller and be like, "Hey, will you be my Diddy Kong if I am Donkey Kong?" And I was like, "Wait, no, I want to be Diddy because he jumps further."
Yeah, that's what
Hell
we did
yeah.
with the PS5. Like, one of the first things we bought was a second controller so we could play some games together. Me and my fiance, which is nice.
It didn't even come with a charging wire. Way to
It
go,
didn't.
Sony. $80, and it doesn't even come with a charging wire.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys, but Rock Band is
Oh,
missing the
yes.
fourth controller, the final guitar to complete the set. We totally got that set up so that we could all play together back in
Yep,
college.
I remember.
And we kind of shared like some of those costs too back in the day. There was a lot of that because we were all starving college kids.
Oh, no,
but we wanted
we
to play
were not-
Rock Band together.
We were not starving, man. We went to Taco Bell plenty of times.
We were
Also
just
not sponsored.
frustrated.
Hell yeah.
You're welcome to do
And
so.
okay, this is like a major tangent, but I just want to bring it up because a lot of my coworkers are in college now, and I'm an old man. But like, I'm talking to them about college, and I'm like,
Back in
what
my
is
day.
it with the dining halls closing early? The marketplace closed at like 8:00. College kids are up until like 2 a.m. at least.
Yep.
Why would you close the cafeteria that early?
Because they had adults that were working and wanted
Yeah.
to go home. I mean,
Well,
Yeah. And to save on food cost of not having to supply people with food at that point in
look,
time.
stop poking
is-
logical holes in my argument. I'm just saying, like, it was
Sorry.
annoying
No,
that
it
we
is a
had to
valid-
go spend
valid
money if we wanted to eat past 8:00.
Your argument is sound.
well, also because like, I mean, breakfast was my favorite meal, but I just
Oh,
like
yeah.
never woke up enough to get to a class and get breakfast. So
Nope.
I couldn't wake up early enough to get to a class.
Yeah, Tom and
Yeah,
I had trouble
breakfast.
getting up in time to go to like our 2 p.m. classes. But
We were accountability buddies that were more like enablers.
yeah, we really were. We were like, he's still sleeping. All right, whatever. I guess I'll go back to sleep too.
good times.
We were going through some stuff back during that time.
You gave
though,
each other
so.
the gift of sleep. In that case,
I miss the gift of sleep. I'll take more of that.
Yeah, you could call it sleep, but I think for both of us, it was more like depression comas. So
Yeah, it's true. Well, since that fun tangent, I think we could maybe revisit our kind of gift giving outside of the game at some point too. I think there's maybe still a little bit more there, but I think we had a nice round discussion on in-game and out-of-game giving. 'Tis the season. If you have the means and would like to make the day of one of your friends or family, consider getting them a little game that you guys could play together. Even just like the $5 character pack in Among Us is kind of fun, and then they don't have to deal with ads. So we're gonna go play that in a little bit. Anyway, I am gonna plug all the things now. So If you like us, if you love us, if you want to be our best friends,
Ooh.
check us out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at JoyPad Pod. Check us out on YouTube at JoyPad. Check us out on Podcatchers is the word. I always think that's a weird word. On JoyPad Podcast. What am I missing?
Email, if you want to do the email.
Our email's joypadpod@gmail.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Try to send me a stack of buttermilk pancakes through email. I'll eat them if you can do it. If you would like to play games with us or anything like that, reach out. We're nice people, I promise.
Yeah, we need 3 more people to start playing in war selection tournaments, so...
Yes, we do.
That's true. 6v6. We will tear it up. We're good.
You might think we're exaggerating, but we consistently win 3v7 games, so
Yeah.
we are pretty good.
I'm top 25, or I was top 25 or so players, so you can learn something.
Yeah.
I'll teach you.
Anyway, did I miss anything else?
No.
I don't think so.
Any final words?
Remember Mitt Romney?
Would anyone like the gift of the outro from me to you?
It's all you, sir.
Yes.
Why
do it.
break
All right.
tradition?
I will give the gift of the outro to myself and tell you all to stay joyful.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.